In this video I'm going to go through question 15 from paper 1, Foundation GCSE Mathematics from 2011. So I'll work through this question 15, explaining how to do it and the marks that are particularly awarded for this question. Should you want to get the whole paper and an opportunity to work through it, and paper 2 as well, plus the DVDs that explain not only the answers but the marking, then you'll need to go to mathstutor.biz or mathsdvds.co.uk to get full details. The post office and car park are shown on this map. The scale of the map is 1 to 20,000. Work out the real distance. Not only work it out, but do it in metres, and also the bearing of the car park from the post office. Well, let's first off consider the real distance. So let's measure it. I'll measure it in centimetres, and this should be the same as on the original paper. It's 6 centimetres. So that's the distance from the post office to the car park on the map. So the real distance is 20,000 times more. So if I do 6 2s are 12 and then put these 1, 2, 3, 4 noughts on the end, that is the correct answer. But it's not the correct answer the way I'm asked to put it. I'm told to put it in metres. So although it's perfectly correct, it is the real distance, I've got to put it in metres. So I need to know there's 100 centimetres in a metre. So to change this to metres, I lose 2 of those noughts, leave me with the other 2. That's the answer. This isn't on the exam paper, but it could have said, how far is it in kilometres? Do you pronounce it kilometres or kilometres? It's up to you. It could have said that, and if it did, you should know there's 1,000 metres in a kilometre, and therefore you need to put the dot 3 places in, which is 1.200, which we don't bother to write, so it's that many kilometres. However, in this exam question, if you wrote that, you get it marked wrong, even though it's right. If you wrote that, you get it marked wrong, even though it's right, because it does quite definitely say, I want the answer in metres, and you must do as you're told. That's worth 2 marks. So if you don't get the 1,200 metres but show some working out, then you possibly get 1 mark. Let's move on to the rest of the question though. And the bearing of the car park from the post office. Now the way you read that is very important. It doesn't matter what comes first, car park, post office, it's the wording in between that matters very much indeed. Car park from the post office. So if you were in the real world, which would you be at? Would you be at the post office or would you be at the car park? And that's the important thing. So you read it carefully. Of the car park from the post office means that you are here. Now it's not because of where the word post office is, it's because of the wording of the sentence. The sentence could be worded around the other way, a different way, without the word even from, but a different way entirely. But car park first and post office second just the same. And you could find yourself there. So read it very carefully. Car park from the post office. Whenever you're asked to find a bearing, the first thing you have to do, and I mean have to, is to draw a north line. Now this is the problem. It's actually impossible to do this perfectly. You've got to draw a line that's straight up the page. So you could look at the edge of your exam paper. I suppose you could measure from the edge of your exam paper and measure again, but it's unlikely that that line is going to be spot on. It might well be, it might not be. So the examiner is going to take that into consideration when they mark it. Now the bearing is always measured round from that north, and it's how many degrees from north. So the answer to the question is, what's that angle there? Measuring round north. So we need to put the protractor on correct way, which is definitely like that, there's no choice, and then make sure we read it carefully, not just look at the number over here and see the 80, 70, 100 and 110, but think about it as it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 all the way round to here. So I've got it as 100 and something. And let's look at it quite carefully now. I reckon that is at 105. So that's the bearing. Now, as I say, because of the possibility of not drawing that line exactly in the right place, and it being reasonable not to do so, the examiner's going to take a range of answers, 104, 105, 106, maybe 103 to 107, but that might be pushing it a bit. So there's 3 marks there, 2 for the actual distance in metres, and 1 for the bearing, measured round from north, a north line that you must add onto the paper.